find we get some good talent coming up here. All right, next up, we got Joel Brady. And I'm just going to say that Joel and his wife, Tella, have been volunteering to help mentor and support new fisher poets, and that is a very valuable thing in this setting. So I just want to say thank you, Joel, for what you're willing to do, because it's hard to get on the stage as a newbie. Joel Brady-Power first went to sea at 2 weeks old, and he has spent every summer of his life since then on the waters of southeast Alaska trolling for salmon. Land will always be a mystery, and the ocean will always be home for Joel, so please welcome him.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning when the crew wakes me. Something about an active military test site. Torpedoes in the water. I rush up the stairs in a panic as a commanding voice booms through the VHF speakers. Sir, change your course immediately. Head south towards the Winchelsea Islands. There are live torpedoes in the water. Where exactly are the Winchelsea Islands? The next morning, the autopilot fails. And then, I accidentally connect the posts on the alternator with an oil bucket handle. My body convulsing as an array of sparks crackle past me like a mob of angry fireflies. By sundown, we have no power. No radios, no radar, no depth sounder. We're driving out of Dixon Entrance into a pounding westerly, hot wax dripping down my hand from the candle I'm holding next to the compass. Following a course I took before dark, popping no-dos and praying to a God I don't believe in. It turns out, when you're 22, you only think you know everything. And it turns out, when you're lost, you really want to be found. As we pore over paper charts and justify our position, when in reality we drive back into Dixon Entrance for 3 hours before realizing our mistake. But that night, we finally sleep in port of San Antonio Bay with the engine running. If we shut it off, we're dead in the water. Unfortunately, I forgot about the electric solenoid on the anchor winch. And despite our best efforts using come-alongs and gusto, we have to cut her off. I really want to make Sitka by nightfall. We're in Bjorka Channel when the sun betrays us, sinks slowly into a lazy ocean and steals our eyes. As we approach the breakwater, one of the lights keeps disappearing. That's odd, I think. I instruct one of the crew to investigate with a mag light, and he runs up on the bow, throws the beam out over the cold, dark water, and then he turns around, flailing like a half-mad ghost in the pale light. Turn starboard! Turn starboard! They say every boat has a rock with her name on it. Apparently, this was not our rock. 10 minutes later, I slide the Nurka safely into her slip, get down on my knees, kiss the dock, think, we've made it. Looking back across time, with that clearest of mirrors, I chuckle. Oh, you poor bastard. This is only the beginning. Thanks, guys. So we've heard a lot tonight about Bristol Bay And I know a lot of people here are not fishermen, which is great. And we need all of your support. I know Bristol Bay, like had all this surge of momentum behind it, and then, sometimes you might think the fight is over. Well, the fight is not over, and we need all of your continued vigilance on this issue. And so this is kind of my take on Bristol Bay. And just thank you for your support. Please stay involved, stay engaged. This is called Why Do I Care? I have a friend who is an artist when it comes to smoking fish. Every year I bring him my biggest, fattest, oiliest king salmon for him to work his magic on. One year, after the fish came out of the smoker and we were halfway through devouring our first piece, oil running down our arms, smiles splitting our faces, moans of ecstasy on our lips, someone asked me if I ever sell any of my share of the finished product. Why the hell would I do that? I asked. What am I gonna buy with the money that's better than this? I don't fish Bristol Bay, but from the Raven's eye view, it is magnificent. Pristine lakes nestled amongst snow-capped peaks, streams and rivers run through tundra and forest. Woven opalescence that threads a landscape of unimaginable beauty before spilling their clean cerulean current out into the Gulf of Alaska. But why do I care? I have no stake in the game. It's not my fishery. It's not my fight. There is no such thing as someone else's war. These are my brothers and sisters, and I will stand with every salmon that still runs wild. I will stand with every man, woman, and child who still works the wind and tide. And I don't give a damn how much gold, how much copper, how much profit sits beneath these sacred waters. What of the worth of thousands of years of native culture and heritage? What of the value of blood and sweat and sleepless nights, of fishing tradition in our way of life? Tell me, what are we gonna buy that could possibly replace the largest remaining wild salmon run left on the planet? Thank you. I've got just one more for you guys, and it's kind of a long one, so stay with me. It's called, What Do You Do for a Living? I was in a bar recently, and a man asked me what I did for a living. I answered that I was an Alaskan fisherman, and he responded, "Oh, so you're a badass." Like, wow, now that is hard work. I really didn't know what to say, so I pulled a circle hook from my pocket. The fluorescent light reflected off the sharpened steel, and blinded by the gleam, I guess he couldn't see my sometimes almost crippling insecurity at having barely graduated high school and never pursued a formal education. I guess my social awkwardness was well disguised. I'll be straight with you. After a couple of beers, I do a pretty damn good impression of self-confidence. And after all, I'm a fisherman. I'm strong, fearless, and at least a little bit crazy. And I must be able to fix like anything, right? Dissect an engine down to its pieces and put it back together wearing a blindfold. I must be somewhere between MacGyver and Captain Ahab. As if I could build a boat out of newspaper, duct tape, and a ball of string, hunt down a great white whale and harpoon it with a toothpick shot out of a toilet paper roll, and paddle the carcass back to shore using my wooden leg. When, in reality, I'm probably closer to an amalgamation of Frodo Baggins and Ferdinand the Bull. All wanderlust and no bite, all feeling and flowers, but still, I don't know what to say, so I pull a circle hook from my pocket. I trace the lines in my face with the point, searching for cracks in the shield. But he seems unfazed, so I guess he really can't see that I have never cared about cars, that I don't even really know what the hell turbocharged means, that I would rather discuss bird migration, politics, poetry, art, faceted layers in the snowpack, literally anything other than mechanics. I guess he can't see that I'm just like him, trying to fold myself into these boxes I will never fit into, trying to defy and define what the hell it even means to be a man. And if I appear anxious, it's because this claustrophobia makes me want to crawl out of my own skin and slink away into the corner to watch this conversation unfold from a good, safe distance. Because the truth is, I don't go to sea because I'm a badass. I go to sea because I'm a coward. This is all I know, and a well-worn path is much easier to follow. I go to sea to run away because on land I am overwhelmed by injustice, my privilege, and my apathy to do anything about it. But I don't actually say any of this. I pull a circle hook from my pocket. I admire its cold, brutal simplicity. And then I plunge it into my left hand. Ah! And I scream like a man because it fucking hurts. And blood spurts into the air and he throws up his arms. But before my drama can even stain his shirt, I vanish. Because you see, this sensationalized idea of who I might be is just an illusion. Like the hook in my hand. But he is left standing there panting, checking his shirt for spatter in bewildered horror as I walk back into the bar. He looks up, understandably confused, as I carefully place a clean circle hook in his palm. I tenderly fold his fingers closed around it. And I look straight into his eyes and I ask him, "What do you do?" And maybe he tells me he's a doctor. Maybe he tells me he's a teacher. Maybe he survived an abusive father. Maybe he waits tables, fixes cars, or is a starving artist. Maybe he was born into the wrong body and I have the wrong pronouns. Maybe she, better yet, maybe they are a social worker. Maybe instead of talking about Jesus, they actually look after the poor and undervalued in our society with almost no support from a dysfunctional board of directors that is just so happy to have them and doesn't know what they would do without them, but also we really can't afford to pay you this week, this month, this year. There are so many ways to work hard. So many ways to struggle. What do you do? You can tell me anything and I will say, wow, now that is hard work. You are a badass.
I understand you're a performer.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see, I started doing Fisher Poets in 2009, and I haven't done it every year since then, but as many as I can. So I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6.
Do you live here in Astoria?
I do not. I live in Brussels, Belgium, and so I kind of came. I think I get the award for coming the furthest. And but I used to fish in Alaska. I did that for just north of 20 years. And now I am a researcher in maritime psychology, so I do research with those who work on the sea.
What's the best part of the Fisher Poet gathering for you?
It is seeing all my friends, actually, and getting to hear other Fisher Poets' stories of their life, on the ocean and things like that. And then also, like I mentioned, seeing my friends, seeing my fishing buddies that I only get to see in Alaska. Like half my radio group is down here watching, and so it's a really nice time to get to visit with them. Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you. Is there anything else?
Did you get my name?
Oh, yeah. What's your name?
Jen Pickett.
All right. Thank you.